How's it going? Anybody shows up? Pale Rider. The other trucker James, how's it going? I think my cooler might be... Oh no, I just put this water in. Daniel, Mike Mentor, Big Rich, what's up? Yeah, I kind of wanted to go live earlier, but then I had to eat dinner. You guys don't want to see me eat. Ian MacArthur, how's it going? Crazy that others would want to listen to you talk, says Frank. Yep, I know, it's weird, man. Kind of like this YouTube live stuff. Harold, what's up? Warren? Matt Grady, Steve Berger. You went live yesterday and I got to catch 5 minutes of it. Then I went back and then you deleted your Daily Bob. Your Daily Bob. Jordan Barber says, new subscriber. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. Kevin, what's up? Harold says, sitting on my 10-hour while also getting detention. Daniel says, I made a rookie mistake this morning. I'll be putting up a video in a few hours. All right, Daniel, I look forward to seeing that. Matt Grady says, leaving the tanker game, flatbed time. Well, good luck with that. Sherwin says, hey, Steve, I got my CDL October 5th. I'm working on my tanker and hazmat endorsements. That's a good idea because there's a lot of box loads that you have to have a tank. And having that endorsement for hazmat, that'll come in handy too. Although I think I might let mine run out. But it makes you look good on paper for when you want to get hired somewhere. So I haven't decided yet. My license is up next year. And I got to go through all the hazmat stuff. So it wasn't anything worth watching. Well, says Steve Berger. Big Rich says, sitting not too far from these wildfires in Cali. Yeah, that's a bad deal, man. I think there's 2 seasons in California. Rain and fire. That's it. Travis says, don't do it, Snorlord. Don't do what? Don't eat? Too late. Already ate. So, how's your truck doing, Mr. Berger? I know you had to take it in the shop. Latex, what's up, Frank? Rain, not in Southern California, right? Remove your hazmat. Yeah, I probably won't. So, Warren says to renew your hazmat, what all would you have to do to get it renewed? You have to, you're required to take the test, which is like, a 20 or it's like the CDL test. And then you got to do fingerprinting and another background check. And you have to do this, I think it was every 3 years. So, and it costs you $100, usually somewhere around there. Costs you a little bit of money. I used to haul hazmat all the time. And what's interesting is, here's the thing. When I was at Landstar, they were really close on the, not the Ranger side, but Inway side. They were really close to losing their hazmat ability to pull because there was too many violations. And so, for a while, every time you did a hazmat load, you had to call in. And it's kind of amazing how many shippers try to get away with a lot of sketchy stuff. And it got to the point that a lot of the hazmat stuff became my specialty at Landstar because that's how I kind of kept above water. And then, but with all the shippers that were no longer able to get away with the sketchy things they were doing, they didn't want us. They didn't want to use Landstar. They didn't want to use us because, I literally watched a Landstar representative and a clerk have a shouting match on the phone right in front of me because they couldn't agree on what the regulations were. So it can be confusing. So the loads that I like doing were the firework loads, and then the empty totes that you still had to have placards on because they were nice and light. So, but I have not done one hazmat load for Snyder yet. We have them, but I haven't done one. Okay, so no driving test with that. I only have... Yeah, you're only going to take a driving test one time, Warren. Just one time. That's when you get your CDL. That's it. Matt Grady says, Steve, you got to come to Iowa. I want to meet you. You too, Pale Rider TV. Yeah, that'd be cool. Last time I was in Iowa was a couple months ago. Had a load that went to... where did I go? Des Moines, I think? No, it wasn't Des Moines. It was past that. Harold says, I let mine go. The loads don't seem to pay anymore. Rate per mile and way more hassle. Not worth hassle to me. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Some companies require it. Landstar, we were required to have it. Warren Price says, so Landstar, the carrier itself, was at risk of losing their hazmat. Is the carrier the right way to say it, or are they a broker? They're a carrier. But they run their business like a broker. Imagine C.H. Robinson with trailers. That's what Landstar was becoming. Now, they have direct customers. They have direct freight. They have direct drop and hook freight, just like Schneider. But for the most part, the majority of loads that I saw were third-party logistic loads. Meaning they were getting it off another load board. And so a lot of times when he called on a load, they're like, oh, hold on, let me check. I'll call you back. 15 minutes later, yeah, that load's gone. So that got old really quick. And I was talking to a couple of people today working off the DAT board and a couple other boards, and they said they're running into that today with a few brokers. Jordan Barber says, I do Pepsi hazmat all the time. Isn't that interesting? That something that we consume, ingest, is a hazmat product. I used to haul stuff for Diet Dr. Pepper and Sprite. And you walk in the warehouse, it smelled like insecticide. It smelled like you kill roaches with the stuff. And we used to haul that to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. All the time. In fact, the Transland still does those loads. Frank Rowe Pro, the wildfires is a government conspiracy to stop all the truck drivers from protesting again. Just kidding. Awful what's going on. Prayers to everyone affected. Yeah, Big Rich says, not a broker by definition. No, they really aren't. It's just... What can you say? It just depends on who you talk to. That's all I got. I'm sorry, guys. Clyde says, I've done a few hazmats just to get the $25 for calling them and telling them what placards I got. LOL. Yeah. The number one violation when it comes to hazmat is the placards. A lot of people don't realize that. Placards and load securement. Those are the two biggest things. If you have the placard off kilter, it ain't gonna work. If you have part of it ripped off, that's a violation. If you have tape over that inside line border, that's a violation. If it's not the right number, it's a violation. If it's not in the right place, if it's within 2 inches, I think it's 2 to 4 inches of any other printing, like the trailer number, that's a violation. If you don't have a lock on the trailer, that's a violation. Of course, if you don't stop for railroad tracks, that kind of thing. There's a lot of steps and a lot of BS. So, my opinion is if you do hazmat, it better be worth it. Now, there are guys at Landstar working on what they call the AA&E, and a lot of that is refrigerated hazardous materials. That's where the money's at. That's the bank right there. Southside Trucker, what's up? Jordan says, my company pays 5 cents extra per mile for hazmat loads. Yeah, that's the way it should be. When I was fresh out of CDL school, I looked at going to CFI at the time. And at that time, that they offered an extra nickel for hazmat, an extra nickel for anything east of Pennsylvania. And company guys fresh out of CDL school, you had chances to make 45 cents a mile, which 10 years ago was pretty good. The Southside Truckers, dude, I'm at the shipper. I'm on my 5th hour, and you wonder why dudes lose it. I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, there's no reason for that. No reason at all. It takes 20 minutes to unload a truck or load a truck, if it's on pallets. I'll tell you a good story. So one time I was delivering, the first time I delivered in Coca-Cola in Oklahoma City, it was for a different company. And I was with my trainer, and it took him 2 hours to unload us. Or load us. It was loading, yeah. And then the first time I went there by myself, it took him about 2 hours to load me. The second time, it took 3 hours to load me. And one day I went in there, and before I could do all the check calls, I was loaded. I was like, they had me loaded in 20 minutes. So I get out of the truck, and I'm like, wow, that was fast. It was a full trailer. He goes, yeah, man, but it's my Friday. I said, well, now that I know you can load me in 20 minutes, I'm going to expect that every time. He's like, oh, no. Like, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to be like that? So, Matt Grady, Stephen Palerider, I got my GoPro, trying to figure it out to make some vids. You may need some guidance. Matt, the best thing to do is there's some good GoPro videos on YouTube on how-tos. That's what I had to do, because the manual they give you those, they're worthless. And that's by design. They want you to buy the extra tutorials and all that stuff. I know that you can't just hook it up with a cord to the computer and download the files like a regular camera. You have to take out the SD card and put it in an adapter thing and put that in your computer. If you got the Wi-Fi one, then you can download the whatever videos to your phone, but that takes forever. So it's just easier to put it on the card and then put the card on the computer. And you want to get at least a 32 gig card, so you have a lot of time on there. And it's kind of a fisheye, so it'll look wider. That backing video I did looks like I'm actually closer to those things than I was on some parts. Some parts actually was that close to all the obstacles because of the wide angle lens. And so those are beginning tips. Yeah, find some videos on YouTube. Warren Price says, Pepsi hazmat. What am I drinking with my rum? Soda's nasty, dude. But I can't stress that enough. I stopped drinking it, majority of it, once I realized that I was hauling hazmat chemicals. I've hauled lighter fluid. It didn't have placards on it. Maybe because of the bulk of how much was on there. But yeah, there's a lot of food additives that have hazmat placards. It's not just soda. Southside says, so shipper I'm at, they're a union, so they don't care. My question, once ELDs kick in, will union adapt to the change, or will they keep acting stupid? Southside, what will hopefully happen by theory, okay, is that trucking companies will refuse to service them unless they make accommodations, whether it be a place to park or to have things, and that's the thing. The company should have some kind of detention policy. So it costs them money every time the union guys take forever. So if it takes 6 hours, the company should be paid, $150, $200, or some set price an hour, and that would solve that problem. And most of the problems in trucking, you throw money at it and it will solve it. Your company should have a good detention policy set. If they don't, or if they don't pass that on to the driver, then that's a company I don't know if I'd work for or not. And if you're on your own authority or booking your own freight, like Landstar had a set detention time, whereas like if you're working for, say, somebody like Traveloco, or you're on your own authority, you need to have that detention time set in there. So it should be in the rate con. Matt Grady says $400 fine for each of the 4 sides that are wrong placard. Yeah. Jordan says, if your trailer tails sag, that's a violation. I got dinged for that. Yeah. Yeah, those trailer tails, they're kind of worthless. I definitely wouldn't have them on my trailer if you have placards. Hazmat, it's just the littlest thing could get you in trouble. And a lot of scales you can't bypass, like you can't bypass Ohio, even if you get a green light on the pre-pass. Someone just parked right in front of me. Frank says clear tape is good to go all day. Duct tape or any other color tape not acceptable. That is absolutely correct. I still have a roll of clear packing tape that I use for placards if need be. And and here's the other thing. A lot of companies, you'll be amazed, there's a lot of trailer sellers that don't know how to put placard holders on. Like, including Schneider. I had a trailer here that the placard holder was off kilter. And I was like, why would they allow that? And then one time I got behind this truck and they had the placard holders square, not diamond. It's like, how'd you miss that? Who was the person that put that on? They should have known better. So don't forget your in-round inspections. Steve, I'm not 100% sure on those in-route inspections. A lot of guys don't do them. White Lightning, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in a minute. Stretch Nuts, what's up? Clyde, I know a few guys that drive for Jevic back in the day, and they were making dollars hand over fist. Drove for Jevic. I'm glad I mostly do drop and hook. Yeah, that's a lot what I do. Big Rich started with CFI. Yep, I almost did. They had a bus ticket ready for me. It was only to Joplin, but I was told one thing by the recruiter, and then I was told another thing by a different recruiter. And then Transland had a better home time deal. Hello, Keith. Stretch says, yo, Steve, you pull any Goodyear tire loads out of Lawton, Oklahoma? A lot. I've done it for 3 different companies. And the only place that I hate going to when it comes to the tire loads is DeKalb, Illinois. There's a lady that works in that office. who is probably the loneliest person in the world because she is so angry and bitter. She hates everybody. You could sit there and give her $100 bill and she'll still like not say anything to you. She'll still be a total, well, I won't say the word. And the shipping clerk in there, he kind of gave me a hard time too over something stupid. So I see the loads going from Lawton to DeKalb, Illinois. I don't take them. That and they don't pay worth anything. I'm trying to figure out some content that will get some views and people would enjoy being creative blockage. Matt, here's the thing. I say that term a lot. Do what you want to do. Do what comes naturally. Do what you would want to see. Like, look at it from a fan's point of view. What do you look for when you do YouTube videos or when you watch YouTube videos? I like the combination of the driving versus with the vlogs, you know, with the talking in between. I like that. You know, Pale Rider does that. Ike Stevens does that. Little Guy does it. Little Dog does it. You know, when they're all doing that style of video, I like those. Kevin and Ollie does that. You know, Big Billy's doing that. Daniel Adami's doing that. And then I like doing stuff with music. That's I don't know why. That's just a thing. Probably because there's nothing better. You know, it's one of the perks of this job is when you're in the zone. And that's when you got like maybe a lonely road in front of you, hardly any cars, and you're listening to the right song and it's matching what you're seeing. Or, you know, you're in a big city and you're all going like 60 miles an hour all next to each other and traffic is flowing good. And you've got like somebody like Amon Amarth playing, man. That's an intense feeling. So a lot of times I do a lot of videos of the driving sped up with that kind of music. You know, if you go to my old channel, Coach just went live. If you go to my old channel, I did a video called Beer Run. I was getting a load of beer in Dallas, and it was to this death metal band called Vlor. And that's one of my favorite videos. And then, like, one of my first videos was I used Crowbar. And it's a good driving song. So, but whatever you decide to do, make sure it's organic. You know, don't do what you think is going to get you analytics. Don't do what you think, because, you know, face it, my creative videos don't do nearly as good as what I'm doing now. And so I try to keep a mixture. You know, whatever you do, just make it consistent. You know, go to other people's live feeds and, you know, say, hey, what's up? You know, introduce yourself. And people will see that. And, you know, that's kind of how you get the ball rolling. You know, my old channel, I didn't do that enough. And it's only got like 500. You know, let's look, see if my old channel, how many subs I got in my old channel. Let's do some comments here, though. Uh-oh, battery's going to die. Have a good night, Steve. I'll call you when I find out what's up with the truck. All right, Burger. Warren says, I guess it's time to quit soda. I mean, I've seen that it's bad for you, but you're hauling ingredients with hazmat placards really drives the point home. Yeah. Heath is asking if Jevic is still around. Siraj, what's up? Daniel says, I once hauled 11,000 pounds of hazmat 1,200 miles before I found out it was a hazmat load. I don't have my hazmat endorsement, and I have no idea how I didn't get caught. Yeah, you got extremely lucky there, Daniel. That would have been bad for you. And your company should have caught that. Let's see. Let's Snore Lord E-logs. Because my E-log video on my old channel has like over 40,000 hits. And all my new stuff's on there. Let's see. Let's do Snore Lord. Backing in New Orleans. New Orleans. There it is. Search. There it is. Okay, so as of today, so I was using Crowbar. Why? Because Crowbar's from New Orleans. That's one of my favorite videos I did. I might have to like download those and put them on this channel. But I have 317 subscribers on my old channel. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. 317. Why? Because I haven't put a video on that in like a year. And when I did, it was band related. But see, I don't know. Like my last music creative video was recycling paper and raw. I was picking up delivering at a recycling plant. I used a band called November's Doom for the soundtrack. Oh, Pale Rider says, Snorler, we both got a shout out on Alaskan Cowboy's video. Yes, that was cool. Alaskan Cowboy, everybody subscribe to him. He's got his head in the right place. And he's a Snyder Company guy. So if you guys want to know more about what the Company guy's side goes through, he's a good one to watch. Heath is DeKalb. You lived there for 10 years. Yeah, I didn't mind going there. It's just, that yard is just so messed up, man. That lady, too. The Southside Trucker, all these clerks need to get laid. It'll do them good. It'll do us good, yeah. Like cab with an L in there. Calb. Frank says in-round inspections with hazmat is every time you stop, regardless of distance travel. With ELD, most companies have an option on Dropbox called Tire Check Hazmat. If not, you always write it in. Yeah, that's the thing. You just got to be... I always do, like, inspections when I'm not hauling hazmat. Always do a walk around your truck. Always inspect your fifth wheel pin. Or, I've been over that. Even if I go get fuel... When I come back out, I check both sides of the truck, make sure no one's hit me. Make sure I don't have a flat tire or leaky wheel seal or something like that. Warren Price. So as a green company driver at 18 months, if I were you, should I get a late model T680 and get my own authority, or try Landstar Schneider IC? Is that an unfair question? Any thoughts? Warren, here's the roadblock you're going to find. If you try to get your own authority, your insurance is going to be astronomical. Schneider IC is a good beginning spot. It's a good starter. It's a good, because they'll get you into a truck if you want a Schneider Finance truck. And, Landstar would be, I started with Landstar first, and there's a lot of things that kind of take you by surprise. So Schneider's a lot easier to deal with that stuff, and then work your way up. Do that for a couple of years, and then you'll be able to get into your own authority. Now, there are people out there that probably disagree with me. These are just my opinions. However, 18 months, you're still learning to drive, and the insurance companies know that. So to find a good insurance company is going to be difficult at only 18 months. So, where Schneider, you're under the umbrella of our contract freight and our insurance, and you can really kind of learn how to manage your own business, how to manage your own truck. And then if you have a higher Schneider finance payment, that'll really teach you to be efficient and scheduling and all that other stuff. So that would be where I would start. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Schneider. I would say that anyways. Daniel Adami is subscribed to him. Jordan says use Mastodon. I like Mastodon. I got to be careful who I use, because there's been a couple of times where, like, someone in one of my videos, it was actually my vlog, my GoPro vlog, said, what about animals as leaders? Because they're instrumental. And I tried using the animals as leader song on this old channel. On my old one, on this one, and they muted the video. It depends who owns the rights to the song. Like, I wouldn't use a Metallica song because their management is on top of any kind of bootleg or any kind of, non-authorized use of a Metallica song. I tend to use a lot more, local level bands, or I try to get the band's permission. But however, the Opeth was a shot in the dark, and if they would have muted that, I would have redone it with a different soundtrack. And I've also got some music that a friend of mine's made that was just like a compilation of instrumentals. And then I got another friend of mine that did all the recordings of Apnea, and he's got the tracks without the vocals. And why do I like more instrumentals? Because people don't get the growly vocals a lot. That's why Opeth was a good choice, I thought. My wife was watching that video, and she said, I like your music choice. And I wanted to use Eternal Rains Will Come by Opeth, and that's such an awesome song. But yet, it wasn't long enough. So, but Mastodon would be good, depending on what kind of management and whether they would mute my video or not. Because you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to have any copyright strikes on your channel. Nailed It says, Coach is selling antiques now. Is that what that video is about? Here are my thoughts on that. He can do whatever he wants. However, the market is so hot right now. The average rate per mile, according to the DAT board, for dry van is $2.09 a mile, okay? That's just the average. So your hot loads are easily $250 to $350 a mile. If you don't believe me, ask Jeffrey Like. If you don't believe me, ask Yeti. If you don't believe me, ask Kevin and Ollie. Any of the Travel Local guys, they'll tell you the same thing. Yukon Cornelius. And he is missing out on this awesome freight at the peak time. I don't think he's run a load yet. And that, like I said, he can do whatever he wants. I don't know what his financial situation is. Maybe he doesn't have to run. But, man, even if you don't have to run, I would be just on it, man. I just don't understand it. It blows my mind. I would, because these rates aren't gonna stay like this. Now, they might be like this for a couple of years, but this is the highest that rates have been since 2014. So, yeah, I was only told it was only 325 pounds, so it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, it's sketchy. How do you get away with using copyrighted music? It depends on the copyright owner. That dinosaur video I did that had sword on it, and there was nothing said. What happens is I can't monetize those videos. That's usually what happens. But if you do something like if you have a Disney song or a Metallica song or one of these like more popular artists, then that's when you can kind of run into problems. There's a couple of groups that I've tried to use that were like, no, don't do it. But YouTube is kind of relaxed about that a little bit. It used to be that if you didn't have the rights, they muted the video. Let's go back a little bit. There's a YouTuber who was named Little Trucker 1972. And she did a video with, what's the name of that band that Vinnie Paul from Pantera is in? You guys know what I'm talking about. Not Damage Plan, but the other one. Anyway, she did a really good video. It's called Gravy Train. Look it up. And then she did one for this car hauler guy that she's with. And it was Dream Theater with all the footage. And it was awesome. It's a killer video. But she had to put it on Vimeo because YouTube muted it. And I've found that I haven't been able to use Dream Theater. I would love to use Dream Theater. but you can't. So it just depends. You're kind of playing with fire when you use, copyrighted music. So that's why I kind of go for the more underground, less known bands, or my own music. November's Doom. Yeah, cool. TC Trucking Authority and Antiques. Alan G, what's up? Yep, saying it right, DeKalb. Okay. New Orleans is awesome. Who dat? Oh, what did Ron say? Coke? LOL, Ron. Define astronomical for insurance. Like more than $2,000 a month. I've seen that. I don't know. Jeffrey likes more an authority on that. No pun intended, but Oweida's got the cheapest insurance. That would be your thing. I would call Oweida and know what to expect, but you're looking at probably 15 to 20 grand a year for insurance, and you're going to need like a certain percentage of it up front to do the rider. And it's also hard to get a truck loan at only 18 months, because the financial institution wants to know that you kind of know what you're doing. And so unless you buy the truck outright cash, that's another thing you can do, is you can buy a truck outright cash and then sign it on with a carrier, somebody like Traveloka or Landstar, and kind of learn the ropes that way. Just keep your overhead low, so because you're going to have a learning curve. And then also, if you're the sole breadwinner of your family and you don't have health insurance, that kind of thing, that's all plays a factor. But I don't know much about other than what Jeff has told me, and I know that Jeff is trying to bring on other drivers, and he's having trouble finding insurance company that will do it for a reasonable price, because he's still a new authority. So even though he has 20 years experience. So Matt Gray says, I love Apnea that you sent me a while ago. Cool. Thank you. I think everybody will like the new band more, because I'm not doing the growly vocals. It's more of the Sabbathy style. So Warren says, been watching your videos. You've got some great music back in your content. Love it. Thank you. Southside, when was the last time Coach drove his truck? LOL. I have no idea. Mr. Arturo Williams, how expensive do you think insurance will be owning my own truck and signing on to Schneider IC after a year and a half of driving? It won't be, see, if you come up to Schneider, you're going to pay Schneider rates. It won't fluctuate on your experience. The only thing that will be fluctuated on is the value of your truck. The guys with the brand new spanking trucks, their insurance is a little bit higher. But right now, I pay about $50 a week. So that's $200, right? Let's get the calculator out. I think it's like $58 is what I'm paying. So 58 times 4, so that's $232 a month. But that's just bobtail. Now, if I was to go somewhere else and get my own trailer, it'd probably be higher. Oweida is a good source, and they are an insurance company. So, that's why he is on here selling stuff. Damn phone. Hell yeah, that's it, Jordan. Yeah, that's it. Hell yeah. So look up Little Trucker 1972 and find her Gravy Train video. She had a really good talent of music style driving videos. And it's a shame she doesn't make videos anymore. She was a flatbedder back in those days. and now she's a car hauler. And, I'm still friends with her on Facebook, but we don't talk to each other very often. And, most car haulers hate us freight haulers anyways. I'm not saying she does, but, the guy she's with definitely does. Matt says, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Pale Rider, send an email tomorrow. Heath Close, go to Bandcamp and type in Apnea 1. And there's 2 albums that you can stream and download. So you'll understand more later. The TC has a new plan on the growth of his new authority. I have nothing to say. Landstar won't accept a wide insurance, will they? No, they won't. If you go to Landstar, you go under Landstar's insurance. Now, if you're on your own authority and you use OIDA insurance, you can't haul Landstar loads. That's the other thing. You have rated insurance and unrated insurance. And unrated insurance is cheaper, but there's like a list of brokers that won't use you. So you got that going against you. So having a new authority, you've got a lot of cards stacked up against you, which is why I haven't done it yet, because you got the insurance factor, and then you got the brokers, and then you got companies like, say, JB Hunt or Schneider that won't use you unless your number is at least 6 months old. And then Landstar won't use you if you're using OIDA's insurance. Landstar and OIDA don't get along. Mean Green is a badass rig. Thank you, Alan. I just got it washed yesterday, and of course it rained like hell. The paint is starting to peel on the hood. I've got like white flakes. So I like washing my truck, but not too often because, well, you guys saw the big scratch that 18-wheeler in Stratford did. And I need to get some touch-up paint is what I need to do. Ron Barres, how's it going? Ronald says need to chat sometime. Dude, you can call me anytime, man. I was getting to wonder how things were going with you. Ronald is a new Schneider IC, and I hope he's doing okay. Jordan says, could I still do Schneider IC living in Fargo, North Dakota? Yeah, I think. I don't know. There's certain areas that they won't hire you out of. Massachusetts is one. Florida, south of I-10 is another. I don't know how they handle the Dakotas. I don't see a lot of freight that goes up there. I see South Dakota. I used to see Minot, South Dakota or North Dakota all the time, which isn't too far from the Canadian border. But so it might be a challenge to get home. So that's just, that's where you type in recruiter. When you go to the SchneiderOwnerOperators.com page, they'll have you type in your zip code, and then they'll tell you whether they'll hire you or not. Going well so far. I will be in Neosho, Missouri on Sunday. Oh, okay, cool. Well, hell, man. I'll be around Monday. I deliver Monday, and then I have no idea what I'm doing Monday after I deliver. More likely, I'll be in Neosho, because usually that's where I pick up loads up. Warren says, I'm making 43 cents a mile at the company, but I've also got some decent benefits. They cost a bit, but a lot less if on my own. I love driving. I love being on the road. Warren, just don't be in a hurry to be an owner-operator. Learn the industry. Learn what it's like to deal with the shippers and receivers. Learn to drive the truck, because 18 months, dude, you're still learning. I mean, even if you're a natural at it, there's a lot of situations that you have yet to experience. You've only got one winter under your belt, and there's a lot of, just don't be in a hurry. Save up the money that you can and enjoy those benefits while you got them. Because I'll tell you this, I could not be an owner operator if it wasn't for my wife having a good job and having health benefits, because that health insurance will kick your butt. So Agent Orr, is this another parody video? Yep, it sure is. Parody of myself. Trying to figure out the next phase. Just kind of go with the flow for a minute. Jordan says, I had an owner op tell me wait 5 years before coming to owner op. I don't know. I would say at least 3 years. Because as an owner operator, you don't want to just like, you're not just cashing checks. You're keeping track of a lot of things. And so driving becomes kind of secondary. So you want to wait until you feel confident in the driving and dealing with the shippers and receivers and the regulations. And then so I'd say 3 to 5 years. I wouldn't say 5 years, but it just depends on the individual. So, and you got companies like Prime and Schneider and Trans Am that put new guys as lease operators, and that's like, that's a bad idea. Now Woody is live saying I'm a job hopper. I don't know what that's about. Guys, a lot of the BS of these guys fighting at each other, because you got I'm not on anybody's side. I don't side with any of the other YouTubers, because they all got good points and they all got bad points, including myself. And these internal fightings is kind of funny to me. I know it gets some views, and it's almost like watching WWE, old school, right? And I've said this before, it kind of makes us look bad sometimes, but for the most part, a channel is a channel, and depends on what you're looking for. But I don't get passionately upset at any of these guys. I'm on Pale Rider's side. Pale Rider 2 says, I'm on Pale Rider's side. Pale Rider can do no wrong. So, Heath Close doing Randy Macho Man Savage. So, guys, I was bored. And, Little Snorlord Maniacs taking their vitamins. That's funny. Nailed It says everybody's on Pale Rider's side. Everybody is, man. Except for that shipper he was at the other day. So, Pale Rider and I hung out quite a bit at the Great American Truck Show. He's a cool dude, man. He's a cool dude. See, that's the thing. Everybody was like all hanging out at the convention center. We were out there hanging out by the trucks at the end of the show, and no one would hang out with us. Except for TK. He was there. And Big Billy and Russ Maynard was there. So, Frank says way too many new drivers, new to the industry, regardless of age, get caught up in the glamour of being an owner op with poor work ethic and not enough business knowledge. Recipe for failure, if you ask me. Yeah, that's the thing. Definitely, you want to become more business minded. You know, let's talk about that for a second, okay? Does anybody here follow? And I know some of you do. Trucking Exec, okay? He did a video talking about a guy that I'd never heard of, even though he's got 12,000 subscribers. I've never heard of this dude. But that HT Logistics 3434 or whatever. And so I went and checked out his channel, and I was just amazed of what he was saying. And I just kind of shook my head and unsubscribed. You know, that's it. I didn't get mad or anything. And I understand what Scott's doing. Definitely. Here's the thing. When I first started being an owner op, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't take a business. I took a little bit of a business approach, but I didn't have everything down to the cost per mile. I didn't even have cost per day. I didn't have any of that. All I know is I wanted to run that truck for more than $2 a mile. That's it. And I just took the money and ran. I didn't evaluate anything. I didn't, and I barely scraped by. And now that I'm keeping track of my numbers, now that I'm treating it more like a business, now that I can like take it down to the tenth of a cent of what this truck is costing me, I'm finding myself less stress. I'm finding that I've got cushion in the bank, and I'm finding that I'm consistently making better choices. And so I flew by the seat of my pants. Now, when I was doing my Landstar videos, there was one guy who criticized me and said that I was one breakdown from becoming a company driver. And I took offense to that. But looking back now, I see what he was saying. I learned from my mistakes. And it hadn't been for a credit card, I would have been out of business. When the turbo went down in the Peterbilt. So Scott had a really good message. And Scott would know because he's on the other side of the steering wheel. He runs a business. So he sees trucking in a completely different point of view. And now the cost per day, that's another way you can do it, but you still got to know what your cost per mile is. Like, for example, if you need to make X amount of dollars a week gross, then you need to know that you average this many dollars per day, especially if you want 2 days off a week. So you average, Jeffrey Like did a really good video a couple of years ago about that. You determine how much you want to make per day, and then you make sure you stay above that average. And maybe that's what HT was trying to say, but a couple other things that he said was like, some people overthink it. To some degree, I see what he's saying, but at the same time, you want to simplify the fact that you want to make more money than you spend, but how do you know that if you don't know your costs? I've got the VP of a company asking me what my cost per mile is because they want to start an owner-operator program. And then the other thing you said is people want to emulate the mega carriers, and that's a mistake. I'm like, why? Because the mega carriers are the ones making mega billions. So to say that their business model doesn't work, that's insane. Because I've talked to owner-operators with single trucks with their own authority, and they buy trucks every 3 years, brand new, just like the mega carriers do. If you work for a mega carrier, you're driving a fairly new truck under 500,000 miles. And if you're working for a company where you don't have a newer truck, then they're doing something different. And that's probably why they're not as big as they normally would be. So I could see where Scott's coming from, and I agree with him. But it wasn't until I started tracking my dollars and my costs, that's what made me get rid of the Peterbilt. I sat down one day and added up all the costs that the Peterbilt was costing me, plus the truck payment, and I realized that I was spending just as much as the Snyder Finance guys, but I had a piece of crap older truck. That the APU didn't work, it barely ran. And it wasn't because of lack of maintenance, it was because of lack of money to be able to keep up on everything. And had I kept track of everything from the get-go, from the beginning, I might have been more successful. I might not have an orange trailer behind me. Because I know people at Landstar that are doing well. And if I had to go back there, I could probably do okay. Why? Because I treat it more like a business, where back then it was like, oh yeah, I'm an owner-op, I got a truck, ooh, let's go. I made $2,000 this week. That covers the truck payment and the house. Okay, we're good. That's how I used to run. And you can't do that. I mean, it's fun to do at first, but that's like if you have a restaurant, a good restaurant calculates what every single meal costs, and then they price accordingly. So take a mega corporation like McDonald's. You think that they probably know the cost of every ounce of fries or every ounce of soda, every little tiny detail. They know the costs. And Scott hit the nail on the head with that. And there's a lot of guys out there that are claiming to be experts. And I've never claimed to be an expert. I've never said you should do this. I'll tell you what I've experienced. I tell you what I've witnessed, what I've kind of observed, and then I'll tell you where I screwed up. And I'm nowhere near perfect. I don't have my act together when it comes to some of these guys. I talked to this heavy haul guy, Joe Donovan. He's got a YouTube channel. He's a Landstar heavy haul guy, and man, he's got his act together. And you know what? He makes more money in one load than I probably make all month. Yeah, that's the nature of his freight, but still, you gotta know your costs. If you charge by the day, then yeah, let it be cost per day. But if you charge by the mile, that's how I look at it. Schneider says, hey, we'll pay you this much per mile, in this big sum amount, and you got to average it out to your rate per mile. And then that's how you develop your costs. Now, do I get crazy, overthinking the fuel or anything like that? No. Do I get crazy like trying to pick the best tire that has the best fuel efficiency and that kind of thing? No. And I get what that guy was saying about overthinking things, but the basic core is you gotta cover those costs. And if you don't know what those costs are, then how do you know? So, a lot of guys like, well, my truck payment's $2,000 a month, so that means I need at least $500 a week. So anything over that's bank. That's how I used to run, and you can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, I'm behind on comments here. Sorry, guys. Oh, now I'm saying too many times. Okay. Warren says, I see I've run the numbers using what I know and what I've researched, and they are tough to justify. Yeah, there's some of the glamour thing for me. I get it, but that's not the right reason. But that's why I'm trying to be cautious about it. Warren, you also got to have goals. Thor talked about goals. What do you want to do with your own authority? You're being an owner operator. What are your goals? Do you want to add trucks on eventually? Do you want to hire other drivers? Are you in it for the freedom? See, that's the thing. I'm in it for the freedom. And in a lot of ways, that's a misconception because, yeah, I have the freedom. I could deliver this load tomorrow and just go home. It wouldn't be cost effective to do that. It wouldn't be efficient to do that. But if I had an emergency, there's only one person I got to talk to. That's me. All I got to do is call Snyder and say, hey, where do you want this trailer? I got to go home. That's it. And if they have to relay it, it costs me money. But if I want to take off next week, I can. But I don't have that freedom if I'm not making any money. So there's a double-edged sword there. There's freedom. In a way, you've got more freedom, but then you're always thinking about the truck. You're always thinking about revenue. So if you keep your costs down, you don't become a slave to the truck. But in a way, you gotta be dedicated. You gotta take pride in what you do, and then the more successful that you are, the more freedom you have. If you only want to run 1,000 miles a week and you're making $5,000 a week doing it, that's freedom, because then you're making money with very little work, and then you can concentrate on the stuff that you do at home and all that. Rise with Orange. How do you account for daily expenses like food and supplies? Do you provide a flat amount per day? The food is off and on. When it comes to, like, if I go to Walmart, I've got a business card and I've got my personal account card. When I buy food, I use my personal bank account. when I buy stuff like antifreeze or oil or windshield wipers or anything related to the truck, paper towels, glass cleaner, any of that stuff, I put it on the business credit card. And then I scan it onto my phone, and then I put those numbers into the Truckin' Pro. And so, and I could break that down. Like, if I could put it for each load. Let's say I bought windshield wipers. Well, I bought a tire. I bought a steer tire yesterday. That will come up in the Truckin' Pro. Now, do I put it on this load? No, I put it in the general P&L that, I could say, well, my profit this week was $600 less because of the steer tire I had. But then you could do the monthly and yearly. So it just depends. But yes, I account for everything except food. Now, the thing with food is this: you get a per diem. Okay, I think that's what, $68 a day, something like that. But here's what a lot of people don't realize. Let's say if you buy 3 meals a day at $10 a piece, that's about right. That's about average. $10 a piece, and you're out 20 days a year or 20 days a month. That's $200 a month. So I could get crazy and factor in my food, but you're going to eat anyways. If you're at home doing a desk job, you're going to eat, and you don't factor into that your salary. So food, I don't factor in. Now, you keep track of the days you worked, so at the end of the year, you can claim your per diem on the taxes. But as far as like anything miscellaneous, if I buy a light bulb that's $2, that gets scanned, it gets filed, and then it gets put into the computer. So before I didn't do that. I'm like, oh, I got enough money for a tire. I think I'm good. I didn't do that. Warren says, I've got a spreadsheet after spreadsheet, and the numbers look good, but those are just numbers on paper. Well, see, that's the most important step, Warren, though. A lot of guys aren't doing that. A lot of guys they don't use spreadsheets, myself included at one time. And now it's kind of fun. It's, at first, when I started using the Truckin' Pro program, I was like, man. But now it's kind of fun. And I'll tell you guys, I still do it old school. I still have this, okay? Here, I'll show you guys something. I don't know if you'll be able to see it because the camera sucks at night here. But before Truckin' Pro, I started doing it this way. Now, I don't go over all my expenses on this. This is mainly gross, net, before and after truck payment. Everything else is kind of like, I don't know, thrown in. But these are my numbers. And I keep track. What this does, and I still do this even though I've got the computer program, what this does, it tells me trends. Like how much I averaged on the gross per mile for each month. January, I was up. February went down. March went down. April stayed the same. May went down. June went up a little bit, but not, in July. And what this has told me, and I talked to Jeff about this today, I cannot get above a certain number. I seem to be stuck. But that's the problem with running the same loads all the time, is there's no fluctuation. And if I get a referral bonus, which I've only gotten 2 since I've been here for 2 years. It'll be 2 years come December. I've only gotten 2 referral bonuses. I don't put that in this. I don't put it in the Truckin' Pro. That is bonus money that had nothing to do with the truck. So it doesn't get counted in. And so these guys that were making, $10,000 a year in referral bonuses, which there are guys out there that do, you got to set aside a bunch of that for taxes, because that's non-deductible money. In other words, you're not taking any expenses out of that $10,000. Truck payment, per diem, insurance, that book that I was just writing on, cell phone, this tablet, these are all expenses that I can write off. And that kind of stuff you don't really learn until you start going over your cost per mile. So, so Warren, that's the most important part is if you're keeping track of your numbers and you're paying attention, that is more than a huge amount of people that are owner operators right now. There's a lot of guys that don't do that. Neil that says, watch Shadow Wolf's last couple of videos. Okay, says pretty much the same thing, just explains it better. Yeah, I'm not really good at explaining things, Neil did. I get it. Kevin and Ollie, what's up? Warren says, see, that's the thing. I ran my numbers on an old cheap truck, but the more I think about it, if the Megas turn their trucks over every 3 years, there's a reason for that. Warren, you got to find a good middle ground. I have a newer truck. I've got the second tier. I've got the truck that the Mega turned in at the 3 years, okay? It's new enough that it's doing well, knock on wood, but it's old enough that my payments are lower, and I've got a little bit cushion, a little bit more flexibility by keeping your costs low. Keeping your costs low. And then Jeff has done the numbers on used trucks, paid off trucks, and new trucks and lease trucks. So it just depends. There's not one answer for it. Everybody does things differently, and you got to find what suits you. An older truck, what I ran into with my Peterbilt was that all the repairs added up to what could have been a higher truck payment for a truck that didn't break down as much. But it doesn't matter if you have a brand new truck or if you've got a used truck, it's going to break down. It's not if, it's when. The only truck that's ever put me on a tow truck, knock on wood, only had 9,000 miles on it. It was a DEF issue. If you get one of those you can get an old 1997 cab over with a Caterpillar engine in it, you're still going to have breakdowns to deal with, because breakdowns not only cost money and parts, but it also costs you downtime. How much downtime can you afford? I've got enough money in the bank that if I lost a week, it wouldn't hurt. But not much more than that, because I got to have money for the repair. Now, if I was having illness in the family or myself, I could afford to be down a month, but that's about it. So, I try to have at least 2 truck payments in the bank at all times before I start giving anybody else money, including myself. Warren says, no airline runs 30-year-old airplanes. They have a replacement schedule, and there's a reason for that. Yeah, these things are designed to break down at certain intervals. On the other hand, maybe I could stack some cash with the 96 International. What do I know? I'm a greenhorn. Well, that's why you got to spend some time, man. You got to learn, dude. You got to learn. He says, I look at how my company makes decisions, and I think sometimes they're successful. Why do I think I can do better? I'm trying to figure out what can I offer that they don't. Well, that's it. You got to find your niche. You got to find what works for you. And I used to say I could dispatch myself better than my own dispatcher. And then what I learned was that sometimes you're at the mercy of whatever loads are available. It's not because they don't know how to load you or they don't know how to book you. They know how to do that. So I had to kind of humble myself. I had to kind of I guess my dispatcher did know what he was doing, and the self-dispatch in and of itself can be a challenge. And it's less of a challenge if you've been out here longer. Like, I know that it takes a certain amount of time to get to a certain area. When I was new, one time I had a load in Chicago. I was literally 3 miles away. I called the shipper up, says, hey man, I'm only 3 miles away. I'll be there by 3:30. And they're like, no, you're not. We'll see you about 4:30. And you know what? He was right. Because I wasn't familiar with Chicago traffic. So, Kevin and Ollie says, spent a bunch of time today inputting into Truckin' Pro. Yeah, Kevin, it's a pain in the ass at first, right? But once you get it done, once you get the bulk of it done and kind of, I started writing down my load stuff, my load information based off what the Trucking Pro is going to ask for. Like before I didn't do deadhead miles separated. Now I do, the odometer or whatever. And I've kind of simplified a few other things. Like I have, I'm not going to read it off. I have like these different little insurances that are like $1.50 and $2, all this. And it comes out to so much per week. And I just put that amount and don't write down each individual. And Kevin knows what I'm talking about, each individual insurance. So this is why I love you. You're still doing it on paper. That's what I did before I stuck it on a spreadsheet, wrote it down on a pad, calculated. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Ronald says, you're right, Steve. If you take out a salary for yourself out of settlement, food, and normal personal expenses would not be included in cost per mile because your salary is part of the cost per mile. Truck supplies and expenses would be in cost per mile, and it's good to use business account. Yeah, and that's something I just started doing. Right before I bought this truck, that's what I did. I was like, I better start a business account because I didn't do that. There's probably something I'm screwing up anyways, and that's why I use ATBS, because the paperwork thing was very intimidating, and now that I'm learning this, now I can wean myself off of them. So it's a learning, it's the same thing with trucking. It's a learning curve. There's a learning curve. There's a trial period. And the more time you can put on that trial period, the better. Keeping track of your numbers is not only for lease or op. Company drivers also benefit from knowing how much it costs them to be out here. If they're OTR, many of the things you listed also apply. Can't tell you how much I appreciate this real deal input. This is golden. This is really helping. I can't believe you're sharing all this, just like the vid. It's all in our heads, karma, brother. Thanks, Warren. And guys, and I've just learned from my experience. There's guys who probably watch my video that laugh. They're like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. And we all have that. Everybody has that. Everybody that has a channel has people laughing at him saying you're doing it wrong. And that's the problem with trucking. You're doing it wrong. You go to a business convention that has nothing to do with trucking. You got 500 people. They're each going to tell them you're doing it wrong. So, nailed it. If you think you have seen everything, watch The Coach Tonight. TC Pickers now helping the truckers with all your antique needs. Dude, what's going on over there? Kevin and Ollie says I'm finally caught up, I think. Yeah, Kevin, I was asking Jeff. I was like, okay, Jeff, when you're at Schneider, how'd you write this down? How'd you put this down? Did you do this? Did you, I found out that I didn't need almost all the details I was putting in. But however, I want to put in, I've only got July and up. That's when I bought the program. And I'm trying to figure out how to put in all my fuel and still give me a positive P&L. Because I'm not going to put every fuel stop I've done between January and July. I'm just not going to do that. But I'll write down the bulk of what it was. So that way I get an idea of what I'm making. So it's yeah. Just watch TC and you'll feel better. Yeah, you gotta love it, man. Variety's the spice of life. But this video has gone on. Alright, Ronald. Yeah, call me anytime, dude. Ronald brings up a good point. This video has gone on too long. I appreciate you guys watching. The title of this video is kind of based off of there are some YouTubers that like to hear themselves talk, so they'll just go live for no reason. And by the way, I'll be deleting this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed the interaction. What you're talking about sounds like a topic for new classroom sessions for Jeff. Frank, here's the thing, man. If you want to learn how to run a business, if you want to get a business mindset, okay, go to Jeffrey Likes channel and go over all of his videos, not just the current live stuff. If you're a Snyder IC, go to his channel because he'll tell you how to run the program. He did it for 9 years. He knows that program in and out. And he knows every detail. He knows how to run, the way, he knows how to customize. Do you need this, this, and this? Well, you need to run this, and this, and this. And his channel is extreme. That's how he's got up to so many subscribers, because he was helping out a lot of Snyder guys. And then now that he's got his own authority, he's branching off into handling that. So go to his old stuff. His old stuff is just as good as his new stuff. Just as good. Kevin says, I got chastised for deleting the live feed video. Yeah. It's part of the reality, though. Thanks, man. This helps not just me, but my family. It means a lot. It's lonely out there. Watched every Jeff Like video. I should call him and pay. I bet it's worth it. It is. Never delete videos. Okay, I'll make it private, Pill Rider. I bet you, how many of these other YouTubers, check this out. I do this. Every time I do a live feed, the next day, I'll listen to myself. And I'll see where I'm like, okay, I sound like an idiot there. Okay, I said too many times. I said that word too many times. Wow. I was brain farting there. Okay, so and I'll evaluate myself, and if I don't like it, I'll make it private. See, it just said grr. So, guys, take it easy. And you know what? Everybody's just chill. Everybody's just chill. If Truckers Coast wants to sell antiques, more power to them. That means more freight out there for the guys out here working. If that one guy wants to give bad advice, the HT guy or whatever his name is, just be aware. Just beware. Ike, what's up? Ike Stevens in the house. Hey Ike, I don't know if you watch any of my videos, but my last backing video I used Opeth. I don't know if do you like Opeth? Be aware. Be very aware. Just saying in case you need anything. Tell you what, man. Ike gets a lot of flack, okay? And he gets a lot of hatred. He gets a lot of trolls. And I met the dude in person and hung out with him at GATS, and he was pretty cool. I mean, as hard as he worked at the 73 Lounge, and this is not me kissing his butt or nothing, but no, he and I can talk music all day long, and he gets a lot of flack for a lot of stuff, and that's the thing. When you do a YouTube channel, you get a lot of you gotta have thick skin, man. You gotta have thick skin, because you're gonna get a lot of hate. You're gonna get a lot of it's like Ike said one time. You could do a video rescuing a puppy, and you can get thumbs down simply because people just are just cruel, mean. Or, they get critical too. How dare you save that puppy? Why don't you save the other 10 puppies that were around? It's like, and I can probably, relate to that. Warren says he wants to see Ike rescue a puppy. And, and Ike's going into, Ike says Metal Dream Theater music. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier, Ike. I don't know if you saw it, but Dream Theater tends to get your videos muted, or tends to get one's videos muted. So I've never been able to have any good luck using them. And that certain bands you got to avoid, because like you can't use a popular Metallica song because, man, their management's on it like that. I thought Opeth would be underground enough that, you know, I still got a copyright email thing, but they didn't do anything. I just can't monetize it, which, you know, if I got a few videos I can't monetize, no big deal. I don't do this for money. I do it because I'm a narcissistic guy who likes to talk to the camera and likes music videos. Ike is in the house now. You definitely can't delete the video. Ike's a good dude. A lot of good content. Nice production on the vids too. Haters. All right. Heath Close says he wants to see Ike rescue a puppy. Puppy haters gonna hate. Warren says this is worth the price of admission. Yeah. Thanks. Get off the leg. That's another term. So, now, okay, I'll get off the leg, Ike. Ike does some stuff I don't like. There you go. How's that? But his best videos is the live feeds that he used to do on his smaller channel with the glasses. I need to get me a pair of glasses. See, if I turn out the lights, I got no glasses. No glasses. But, one other thing, you guys, for any YouTuber watching this, okay? If you do a live feed while driving, that's fine and dandy. However, don't read the comments. Don't answer the comments. Because technically, to the DOT regulations, just reading a text is texting. I bet you guys didn't know that. And so when you're driving down the road and you do a live feed and you go, oh, hey man, what's up? How's it going? Where are you at? And you're still driving. Oh, you're in Joplin, Missouri. Cool, man. I'll be there tomorrow. You're displaying to the zillions of people out there in YouTube land that you're looking at your phone or computer or laptop or whatever, and you're reading text from them. That's not a good idea, because if you... Yeah, there's a few other people that are guilty of that. And there was a particular driver, I won't name him, but I got on his live feed and warned him, don't do that. And he deleted his video. I'm glad, because the certain company he works for would definitely slap him upside the head and fire him. And it's also a liability thing. Let's say you have an accident tomorrow. The lawyer's like, oh, this guy's on YouTube. Oh, look at here. He's got a history of driving and doing this live feed thing. And he's obviously reading the text. So he's a dangerous driver, and you'll lose your case. Like, when I first got on Periscope, everybody was doing it. And then I didn't really... I've never done that, but the couple Landstar drivers were doing it. And I told them not to do that because there were Landstar agents that were watching our feeds. You know, that's the other thing. These big mega carriers, they're on to us. They're watching us. Schneider is probably watching me going, all right, we're just waiting for that opportunity. Swift, you're not even allowed to have a camera in the truck. You're not allowed to even have a dash cam. And if they find out you do YouTube videos, you're out of there. You're done. Landstar, I know a guy at Landstar got fired because of one of his videos. So you gotta be really careful. If the other thing, if you're doing a live feed while driving, your signal sucks. So you're constantly buffering. So if there's anything, just because of that. What happens when you run over a grandma and her family on the way to church in the middle of a live feed? Not a good idea. But hello world. So anyways, I thought I would just put that out there because I've seen a couple of drivers do that, and I just kind of cringe. Here's the other thing. Message time, okay? How many times have you guys come up on another truck and he's all over the road, right? And you go to pass him and he's doing this. He's like, okay. If you have a cell phone in your truck, buy a dash mount. Some of us use Google Maps. Some of us use our phones as music players. And if you have to push a button, if someone has to push a button, it's better to do it on the dash without your phone in your hand, because it's no different than turning on the knob on your CB or turning the radio knob or clicking the button to see how many hours you got left on your Qualcomm. But if you're doing this, that's a problem. And buy a phone mount. Buy a phone mount and a headset. Warren says Velcro that phone to your dash. That's a good way to do it. Guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Oh, I didn't have my Iron Maiden banner down. There, look. Isn't that cool? I got two of them now. I've got the one over there. See? I've got my old one there, and I've got this one. You know, metal. See you guys. Thanks for watching.